Welcome back to Property Playbook. We're your hosts, Elena Sarditas.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And today is kind of a part 2 of our offer night strategy.
Yes.
Should we have done it? Should we have not done it? And why the hell did Erica not bring me an offer?
Well, there's a little more of a complex
There's a backstory. Don't worry,
that's
guys.
a whole other, yeah.
The house was nice. Erica wasn't ready. And her clients weren't into it. So
No.
long story short, that's what happened there. But offer nights, you had 2 recently.
Yes.
How did they go? And then I'll jump in on what happened with mine.
Totally. So the absolute truth of the matter is they were both epic flops. But they were epic flops in the sense that the actual offer night didn't go as planned, but the actual strategy really played out. So hear me out. I pretty much sat with condos going, we are in a market where 14% of the condos listed are selling, meaning the odds of selling a condo are very slim. And so I went, how can I be a disruptor in this market? Because if I'm not going to be a disruptor, I'm not going to get it sold. And I said to the client, both clients in this case, are you on board with an offer night? I can make no promises that it's going to actually pan out, but what I can promise you is we're going to get more traction and more showing activity than any of my other listings right now, because we're getting, 1 to 2 showings a month. And I'm hopeful that we can at least maybe get 6 to 10 showings in a week. And so they said, you know what, what's my downside? And I said, truthfully, I think there's none. Best case is we get the number you want on the offer night. Worst case is we create a sense of urgency. I drum up at least a boatload of people that hopefully come and see it, which means I've got people on the other side of the phone to call, and we see if we can do it. So when I say epic flop, the offer night came and went. We did have multiple offers, but none of the offers were anywhere near where we wanted to sell it for. But at the end of it, I had a captive audience of people that were interested in the property or had thought about coming through the property or were potentially talking about it. So I ended up selling both properties a week later. So as far as like the stats in this market, I mean, of the 14% that are selling, they're on average, I believe right now, don't quote me, it shifts ever so slightly, it's about 39 days on market. We were sold within 14 days on market.
So Erica's trying to say the only properties that sold in the last little while were her and my listings who did an offer night.
Yeah.
And you know what? The exact same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
So offer night for the first property came. Actually, I had like 4 or 5. I decided I'm going to do offer nights on everything because like I said in a past video, it's easier to move the price up than it is to move the price down.
Yes.
And you have one shot to be the hottest new shiny thing on the market. And price is a huge factor on the honey start the car conversation.
Yes.
So first property, we had an offer night. It had insane amount of traction. I think I was at like 80 showings.
Yeah, you had a lot.
I had a lot of showings. This is one that you even showed for one of your clients.
Yeah.
Offer night came, 7 offers on the table. We drummed it up. We got the number that we needed to get to sell. It sold. But then I did it with 3 more listings. So while we were in Calgary, I decided, why not now? Put 1 offer date on Monday and put 2 offer nights on Wednesday. Monday's offer night comes, we get 2 offers. And I'm like, this is insanity. Both offers are so below market value that I'm like, it's not selling. Tonight is not selling.
Yeah.
But we had so many showings that it should sell for what we're reasonable.
Yeah.
We're not unreasonable people.
Yeah.
It should sell. So we're going to leave it for a second and let the market do what the market needs to do. We have enough action right now. Agents will call me tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll tell them what our expectation is and we'll get it sold. That property ended up selling the Monday right after it.
Yeah.
For full asking with the closing date my clients wanted, and it was a firm deal.
Yeah.
Okay? Offer night didn't work, but it sold and it did what it needed to do to sell the property. Property number 2, same thing. Offer night comes. On this offer night, we had 3 offers. All 3 offers, or actually I think I had 5. I had 5 offers. All 5 offers were not close to where we needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was not at market value. I told my client we can't take any of these, and I pushed them to get them to market value, and none of them could get there. So I said, thank you all so much. We will be relisting tomorrow at a different price. Mm-hmm. And I told all the agents that saw it the same thing, what we're going to be listing at tomorrow. The next day I got an offer at basically exactly what we wanted. We were at 98% of what I was going to list it for, which you were going to list it with a little bit of movement.
100%.
So exactly what I should sell for,
Yeah.
I sold for.
Yeah.
Again, offer night did not work, but
Yeah.
it did what it needed to do. Drummed up enough activity, drummed enough people into the door, and those people started talking about the listing. More action came to the property, and then those properties sold.
Well, that's the thing. I think the big piece and why I did the offer date, and I think why you did the offer date is the same reason. we're sitting in a market where you need to and you want to get a captive audience on your listing. And you cannot get a captive audience if you just play it safe and do what all the other listings that are sitting does, because they aren't then coming to yours and you're not creating the buzz. And I think the other piece that's really important with these offer date strategies is I am so incredibly transparent with every agent that comes through the property. I mean, one of them was listed at $399. It was such a marketing ploy to just get eyeballs on it. But I was so transparent. This is where it is going to sell for. And if we don't sell it here, this is what we are relisting it for. So they knew exactly what to expect. And so when we relisted, it wasn't a surprise. And interestingly enough, the actual offer that took it originally came in pretty much at our original list price, which was just like this artificial landing page, really. And we worked them up to where we sold it at. So I think it's a combination of, okay, how do you drum up an audience and how do you also be super transparent through that process so you keep your audience engaged and you're really weeding out the people that truly can buy the property.
And what I think sellers, again, we've said this in the past, what sellers need to remember is the price that a buyer starts at does not necessarily mean it's the price that they'll end at.
Oh,
and you
absolutely
need
not.
to work the deal.
Big time.
In this market especially, you need to work the deal. You never know who your right buyer is.
No.
Like one of the deals that I ended up doing, we were probably around 200,000 apart of where the deal should have landed. And we went exactly where we needed to go.
Yep.
Like,
but it's
they
so
came
important.
up.
You have to play the game. I mean, I had one last week and I mean, listen, love my client, literally wrote, I said, here it is. You know, what do you think? Let's hop on a call. Here's my perspective. He literally sent an email back. No need for a call. You can wish them well. And I was like, no, we are not wishing anybody well because we need to work this deal. And he honestly, rightly so, thought, what is the point of even signing this back? It's not even remotely close to where I want it to land. And I just said, can you trust me? Trust me in this process, because before we wish them well, I think we should negotiate with them so that then we can sell it to them and scrap the wishing well, which is exactly what happened. But I understand why.
One of my clients literally went, okay, Elena, if you want to play the game, play the game.
But it's true.
And I was like, listen, we're going to sign it back. They're going to sign it back. Let's see if there's a deal to be made. If there's no deal to be made, we can sleep at night knowing that the person that brought us an offer could not get to the number we needed.
Well, and half the time it's just the buyers testing it out. I mean, listen, they've heard the stories of there are people out there that have to sell and there are people out there that hit numbers that you might never think that they would hit. So why wouldn't a buyer come in and try it out? I mean, it's offensive for some, but it's just I say to people, it's like a match. We have to get the ball in play. I've got to lob it to you. You've got to lob it back to me. I've got to lob it back to you. And we've got to do that a few times before we get the ball where we want it.
And sometimes it's literally the difference between the agents just working together and understanding there's a deal to be made. Like I had an agent and I was like, I don't think you get it. There is a deal. I know there's a deal. Keep signing it back. We're going to get a deal done. Just keep signing back and we'll reach a point where a deal is done. Just keep signing it back. That's it. Yeah. We're not asking for a lot. Just keep signing it back. Yeah. Let's figure out if there's a deal to be made. And if there's not at the end of it, there's not at the end of it. But let's at least try.
And then to your point, you go to bed at night knowing you've tried. But you never, ever, I say, want to leave a stone unturned in this market. And so that is exhausting every offer, every strategy, everything. And especially not being scared to try things on that might put a bit of egg on your face, but know what your next play is. That's what I always say. You know, if I'm pitching the offer date, I've got 7 other strategies to follow it. I'm not just pitching the offer date and going, it's 100% going to work. I'm pitching the offer date and going, it's 50-50 at best, but hear me out. Then from there, the plays this, and from there, the plays that, and from there, the plays this. And we've got the entire, situation mapped out and they're on board.
Look, as long as you explain what is actually happening to your clients, I think they always kind of wrap their heads around it slowly. They do. And like we came from such a hot market where everything was selling over asking and things were going crazy that people kind of have understood the whole concept of an offer date. What people are still wrapping their heads around with are cancel, relist, price adjustments. Like why is it sitting so long on the market? And that's where it comes down to education. How much inventory do we have on the market? How do things sell? And sometimes people don't put in an offer until they're in a multiple offer situation. It's crazy. So I had a client the other day. This is like in the last month or so. We saw this property 3 times. We're in a market where it's a luxury. We can go as many times as we'd like. But the reality is this. If her property didn't sell, she could not buy this property or she didn't want to buy this property without her property selling.
Yep.
So we were like, let's put yours on the market. We'll keep monitoring this property and we'll see what happens. Well, long and behold, every other person was monitoring this property as well. And then one person jumped in. It's been on the market for 40 something days at the time, I believe. I can't remember like exactly how many days we're on the market. We were the first person in the property. I've been talking to the agent every single day that they've been on the market. All of a sudden an offer comes in and he goes, Elena, we're presenting tomorrow by 11. Just a heads up. Sounds great. All of a sudden another 2 come in. We're one of 4 offers now on a property that was sitting for so long because buyers believed we have the luxury of waiting so much that no one will compete with us. And then all of a sudden a property that's been sitting on the market now has multiple offers. So sometimes it really is be the first person to offer on the property. You can get all the conditions. You can even negotiate as opposed to being the person that now, oh my God, we're competing. Now we're paying more for the property than what we could have gotten for it a few weeks ago. And now we can't have conditions because
but
we're
timing
competing.
is everything. And I think it can be so hard in a market where there's so much noise and you're hearing so much noise. And so this kind of blend of needing to be incredibly mindful and also tune it out is so important because there's definitely more than one buyer for certain properties. And I think no one believes that right now because, you know, there's a lot of statistics out there that are definitely putting a massive wet blanket on the overarching market. And yeah, there are a lot of bad news stories out there, but there are also some really great opportunities. There's some really great product and there's definitely more than one buyer for some of these properties.
Can I tell you the craziest thing that happened in an offer night over the last couple days?
Sure.
Okay. Now, this is more of like a pick your agent wisely because your agent can cost you the property. So,
For sure.
Erica, when you're going to price a property, you have a buyer. What are you doing? It's not rocket science. You know this. I know this. What are you doing?
So I'm going to price the property and I am chatting with my buyer because they're going to buy it.
Yep.
So we run the comps, we run the numbers, we look at everything.
And how do you look at the comps? Like, explain to me what numbers are you actually
So are
looking
we
at.
talking condo or house?
We're talking about a condo.
Okay, so if I'm running a condo and the comps, I'm taking a building, I'm taking all the similar sales, I'm breaking down a price per foot number for each one, and then I'm weighing, okay, why did this one transact here? Why did this one transact there? Let's compare. Do we have a view? No view, balcony, this, that, the other, finishes, etc. And we're like ironing it down to like a finite little range of price per foot to price per foot.
And how far back are you going?
I would say in this market, I mean, frankly, I'd probably do a year just to get an overview, 180 to get a closer picture, and 90 to be relevant.
Okay, now this is my question. If there was at least 3 sales in the last 60 days.
Done. That's it. You don't
That's
look
all you
past
need,
that.
right?
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
So-
I like to give the bigger picture and start to, you know, because so much
Well,
has
market
changed.
trends, like what
Bring
were they
it back,
trading at?
absolutely, so that they go, okay, well, why did this sell like this and not like this, that? But yeah, if you've got 3 sales in 60 days, you're golden. You've got like a absolute defined market value to a T.
So let me tell you how one agent decided to bring me an offer. And I'm an analytical person. I know my numbers. So like, I know I'm listed at a deal. I know why I'm listed the way I'm listed. I know exactly what comps to be looking at. I know how to justify my value.
Yep.
So exactly the way that you would have comped it is how I would expect anyone to comp it. Any sane person. Now, tell me, what was the height of the market in the most recent years?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely had, I mean, pandemic was the height of
Okay,
the
so
condo
what year
market.
were we in? We were
So
in
that
20.
would be, call it 2022?
Okay, so this man.
No, did not pull 2022.
Yes. They took 2022
Oh my
numbers,
Lord.
and said if in the height of the market in 2022, the same kind of property sold for X,
Oh, dear.
and then now we're 18% down, I'm offering you Y. And I'm like, buddy, there's literally a comp that sold 38 days ago that sold for this. Why would you bring me this? This is a true story. I cannot believe he used back in 2022. And I'm like, how did you use that as a comp? How?
Like, I get it. If there literally has not been a physical sale since 2022, then you've got to do some like crazy engineering and try and work your magic. But if you've got...
Okay, but also crazy engineering, let me tell you what happens. If you have no comp in the actual building, you
look
take
around.
the area.
100%.
So you're like, what do they sell in the area in the last 60, 80,
Oh, yeah.
90
There's
days,
lots of
30
ways.
days, 20? What are the last couple sales? And let's figure this out. How new was the building? How old was the building? How renovated? There's so much more data.
Yeah.
so close to
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And like when you run an appraisal, when you write a home evaluation, when you write anything, you're looking at what is the closest to our current date and the most like my current property.
Yeah.
And there was literally one that was on the exact same floor.
Oh gosh.
That was
This
pretty
is
much
like
the
a
exact.
no-brainer. That's textbook. As
I'm
an agent,
telling
when you
you-
open it up and you're like, oh, amazing. I have a 1-bedroom comp with the same view, with a balcony on the same floor, 2 doors down. You're like, yes.
I
Okay.
literally thought I was in the twilight zone.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, that property sold for more than what that agent offered me. Full price, full listing price, like a week after. But I could not believe how he priced it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of ways I think that some people try and do things, and
I'm still trying to make the math make sense. And
No, you're not
I was
going to.
at a real estate conference, by the way, while we did that offer night. And I'm
Everyone
in a
is-
sea full of real estate agents. So imagine my face when I come back and I'm like doing long division in my head,
Everyone's
being like,
flabbergasted.
how did this like make the math make sense? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I would have never done it like this. And I'm like, can I ask, how do you run? It's like a game show host where I literally was like, how would you run your comps? How would you run your comps? Not one person in a sea of agents said, go take 2022 numbers minus 18% and then bring them that offer.
No.
But apparently that's how you find market value, ladies and gentlemen. So use your agent wisely, because they had an offer that was fully conditional that my client would have taken at a reasonable number. When I say reasonable, at a fair market value for the current state of the market.
Yeah.
And they didn't take it. And then we ended up selling it for a little bit more
Yep.
than what they could have
But
taken
then
it at.
the flip is that's where having a good agent on your side matters, because you turned around and went, this strategy makes no sense. This comp is not accurate. This is not how you comp a property. We're going to stay the course because I know we can, I know we should, and I know what market value is.
I
But
literally
that's
told my
important
client,
too, because there are enough people that could get totally dethroned on strategy over the fact that they go, oh my gosh, have I done this wrong? Is that not how you do it? But people,
I
just
fully
like that person can think that's how you comp, you could have the absolute inverse. So I think it's really important on both sides that you realize you've got to have someone that can confidently drive the bus no matter what the variables are. And there's going to be a lot that's thrown at you as a buyer's agent or a listing agent of a lot of noise. And you have to know, okay, I know my strategy is absolutely ironclad, locked down. It's going to work. And here's why.
And the thing too is, like, as a listing agent, you also know what the property is worth. If you're gonna do that,
Absolutely.
that strategy of an offer night, and you get offers, and none of the offers, as you mentioned, they were flops on offer night.
Yeah.
But you know what? You ended up selling it for more money. I ended up selling it
Right.
for more money days after offer night.
Yeah.
It happens. But the reality is, you have to pick a listing agent or an agent that knows how to price properly,
Yeah.
understands the market, and even though they're using a pricing strategy, they can be the person that turns around and tells you, actually, it doesn't feel good.
Yep. Yeah.
And I fully called my clients and I was like, I don't feel good about that number.
Yeah.
And my client was ready to take it. And I was like, we're not
No,
taking it.
no, exactly.
We
And that's the
can't.
thing. You've got to be able to really quiet the noise. And I mean, we talked about the buyer or the seller quieting the noise. And as an agent, I have to quiet the noise all the time because I have to go, I know my strategy. I stand behind it. I've picked it for a reason. I'm doing it for a reason. And if it doesn't, we pivot and then we pivot, but we're going to get where we need to get.
Yeah. And the reality is this, you know the comps, you see the comps, you know what the property is worth. Yes, the market is down in certain segments of the market, but the reality is you're selling the property. We're not gifting you the property. And that's what people need to remember. Like, as much as, you know, you're lowballing people, you're trying to negotiate all of the fun things that we
Yeah.
do in a negotiation, at the same moment, it needs to make sense.
Yeah.
So
Big
like
time.
there's a point where you're getting a good deal on a property,
Yeah.
but it's still good on both ends. There's a point where you're like, at this number, does it actually make sense that I'm buying this kind of product?
Yeah.
And if the math doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And someone needs to step in and be like, wait, why would we do that? Why
Yeah.
would we sell for this? And I actually turned to my client and was like, if this is the number that you're okay with, I will buy it.
Yeah.
Or I will bring you another client to buy it.
Or guess what? Let's put it at this number because there's another person that will buy it and then we'll have multiples.
100%.
Yeah.
Because this wasn't the right
Yeah.
buyer for you.
Yeah.
You're gonna get someone better. And we ended up getting the perfect buyer.
Yeah.
That fell in love with the property. That absolutely loved the property. Yes, it took an extra, 6 days to get full ask?
But what's 6 days in the grand scheme of things?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
6 days is nothing. It's a blink.
Yeah.
at the right closing, at the right price, at everything else.
Yeah.
So like pick your agent properly. Make sure your agent knows how to run comps because believe it or not, there are people out of the 70,000 real estate agents in the GTA, there are people taking the 2022 numbers, minusing 18% and thinking that's how you value a property. And if that's what your agent is doing, run. And I want like the music, by the way, like our podcast production to play this at the end of this. You know, like the run song where they go, "duh-duh-duh." Yeah, I want that playing at the end of this.
Oh
the
my.
run.
Okay, Miss Dramatic.
Once again, it's Elena Serraditas.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And if you're dealing with an offer night, make sure you go back and watch the past episodes because we dive right into them. If you like content like this, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.